Awesome.
All right, it being 6:04, I will open the meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission for November 27. First item is 30 Island Road Extension. Is there anyone here from 30 Island Road? Coastal Engineering. Okay, we haven't gotten the word back from Fishery and Wildlife. So I will entertain a motion to open the hearing and then to continue it to December 11th. Do I hear a motion to?
I'll make that
continue?
motion.
Motion is made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Motion passes. Item number 2 is 4 Huron Avenue. Gregory Drake, Outback Engineering.
I'm Jason Douglas from Outback Engineering,
All right.
here to represent the applicant.
Uh-huh.
Can we get right into it, or
Yes, just state your name if you would for the record.
Jason Douglas again? The applicant's proposing to do an addition to the existing home that's located at 4 Huron Ave, and then as well as put up a new garage across the street. Property across the street, and there's wetlands over there. And the house is located right on the pond, so there's wetlands there. You may recall this, we did a septic system last year. That is all installed right here. So we're putting the proposed garage is going next to the existing septic system that was put in. Next area now is lawn, a couple sheds, so we're not really cutting any trees down or anything like that. It's kind of like a little storage area, so we're close to a garage over there. Get that stuff that's over there into the building. They also want to have an art studio on the second floor of the garage.
All right. Is there anyone from the public here? Hearing none. Do any member of the commission have any questions?
No questions.
I'm all set.
All right, fine. All right, with that take into consideration, I would accept a motion that the Plan B is approved as submitted. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make the motion, Charlie.
I'll
Motion is
second.
made. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Me too. Can we just have a motion to close the public hearing?
Okay, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
I will
Motion.
second.
Motion is seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. A motion passes. Item number 3 is a notice of intent, 90 South Main Street, Sonnet Properties. And Niles is here, but the the applicant failed to notify in the proper time, so we're going to have to continue it. So first of all, take a motion that we open the public hearing officially.
I'll make the motion to open the hearing.
Motion is made, second.
I will second.
A motion is made and seconded to open the hearing. Chris Mather.
Yes.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Now I'll accept a motion to continue it to December 11th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Motion is
second.
made. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French?
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. The hearing is continued to December 11th. Item number 7, request for determination of applicability. For Algonquin Way, Judas Braga and Niall Zenith Engineering, Niall Zager, Zenith Engineering.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the record, now, Zager, who's in. So as you can see, this is Algonquin Way. Chipway Road is actually just right here. It's an existing home, existing 3-bedroom home. Basically what we have is we have a wetland that runs along what would be which is the southerly side of the lot. Has a high water table, high soil, luckily look pretty good. We're mainly working in the backyard. With this already existing cleared, but there will have to be some tree removal. Luckily, we were able to keep outside the 50-foot buffer with all the components. However, we are showing the erosion control just inside the 50-foot buffer. Everything is going to be basically septic wise 50-foot canal. We're proposing a silt sock. We are showing a dewatering basin as well, because we do feel as though most likely we're going to hit water table when we're doing work, so we'll have to ensure that that's taken care of. I have details in the second page for that as well. We're proposing what's called the Presby system, which is a smaller system, so the footprint is smaller, kind of limits the limit of work within the buffer zone. So we feel as though is what we're proposing now is obviously a huge improvement from what was there, or what is there currently. And we're just here asking for a negative determination for the work proposed.
All right. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
I'm all set.
No questions.
All right, thank you. All right, then I would accept a motion that we make the determination that there is a negative impact in relation to number 3 of the criteria, that the plan be carried out as proposed. And do I hear anything? Yeah, do I hear a motion for that?
Yes, I'll initiate the motion.
I'll
Right,
second.
motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French?
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. The
Thank you very much.
matter is,
Thanks, Niles.
Have a great night.
You too.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
next item on the agenda is item number 5, request for determination of applicability, 49 Winfield Street. Anyone here from 49 Winfield Street? Yes,
I'm the homeowner.
okay. Can you? Do you have the plan?
Yeah, I'm calling them.
Okay, all right. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're planning to do?
Jeff just went out the truck. He's my boss and he's actually gonna be doing the work. Jeff
Okay.
Pataro.
All right,
So,
do you want to wait for him to come back?
yeah, he should be in any second. He went out the graphic plans,
Okay,
you know,
all
just to have him.
Uh-huh.
He's right there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we're on those. Ask me questions. There you go, answer.
So, I don't have a fancy board, like really.
no,
okay, I
that's all
put
right.
it up on the
We
screen.
see it right there on the
Alright,
screen.
well. So I'm Jeff from the Terra and Sons Excavation, we just here on behalf of Wayne. And Kevin from S&K Engineering. So. Pretty much we went over this with Kevin when we were on site. This actually is looks like the old retention pond for the subdivision itself, which was never really maintained, so. Now it's kind of become a wetland, obviously, but it still serves the purpose of the retention pond for the neighborhood. for Winfield Street, so, this is the plan we proposed, and pretty much the best we could do with the septic system location. Because we had, some interference with wells in the fronts of all the properties, and these are smaller lots. That when this property was developed years ago. So, we actually thinned out the leaching field. Instead, I think the first plan, it was a little bigger. And then we ended up thinning it out and taking it away from, the retention pond / wetlands a little bit more. That's pretty much all we could come up with for this situation. I do believe you're facing the house on the left side, there's a drainage pipe somewhere. That goes, so if you're facing the house to the left. We couldn't do anything over there, because that's where the drainage pipe goes into the pond from the development. So we had no options over there either, and you can see all the well radiuses
Mhm.
on the plan showing our options were limited. So, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, and keep the silk control as close as you can to the operation.
And we'll only be working on the right side of the house. We'll come in on the driveway.
Uh-huh,
We'll be just working on the right side of the house and in the backyard.
okay,
So, yeah, we didn't have many options here.
all right. Does anyone from the commission have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, fine. With that in mind, I'll accept a motion that we find a negative determination number 3. And that the project be carried out as shown in the plans. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make that
Oh.
motion.
I'll second.
Motion is made, motion is seconded. Chris Mather,
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French,
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Improvement, right? It's an improvement, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All righty.
Chris.
Item number 6, request for determination of applicability, 1 Ross Circle. Do we have anyone here from 1 Ross Circle? Okay. Would you come forward and just
Sure.
state your name for the record?
So my name is Thomas Boucher. I am the owner of the property.
Okay,
And my request is to build a detached garage in my backyard. So it's kind of highlighted on the plan with the 36 by 60. Sorry, I didn't think that come prepared with a bigger poster.
That's okay.
It is in my backyard. It's in an area that is currently lawn. But as you can see here earlier this spring, I worked to get the wetland line delineated. And the proposal for the garage is outside of the 25-foot offset, but does fall within the 100-foot offset of that wetland.
okay, fine. And the wetland line that you have now is a newer one, which is less liberal, I guess, if is.
You could say that.
You-
We went back and forth when we started this process. We had one set of plans where the wetland line was much further back. We had a conflicting plot plan from when we bought the house in foreclosure. So we just took the action to make sure we knew exactly where it was to, we'll say, go through this process appropriately.
Okay, fine. And you'll be, is it that you'll be extending the driveway from where it is to the garage? or-
Correct. Correct.
All right, and would that be asphalt or?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't see there on the plan a
Yeah,
silk
so like a
control,
silt sock delineation
silk
line.
stock
Yeah.
delineation line.
So talking with my contractor, we would put it kind of right at the back of the garage. within or outside of, we'll call it that 25-foot offset.
Okay, very
Right,
good.
to stay out of that 25-foot offset area.
Okay, but as you say, the 25-foot, the area between the 25-foot line and the delineation line is lawned now.
So from there, so part of it is lawned, it's not fully lawned, there's some brush in some area.
Okay.
There are some trees, we'll say on the top side of this plot in that area, I won't be touching any of that. The lower side is lawn and some light brush, so a little bit of brush will be cleared, but no trees will need to be taken down.
All right. Anyone from the commission have any questions?
Is this,
No questions.
oh,
I'm sorry,
Is-
Margaret, go ahead.
that's okay. Is this garage on a slab or are you building a foundation?
So it will have a foundation, they'll have a poured concrete foundation, and will be 2x6 construction with a truss roof.
Okay,
All right, I would propose a motion that we find a negative determination under number 3 with the condition that there's silk control put up, and that's about it. Anyone have any other?
I do have one suggestion. Can we just define the silt control and what we want him to use, whether it be straw wattle or hay bale or what do we want there?
What do you want, Chris? You brought it up. We'll go with you first.
Did the engineer spec anything based on what's gonna be happening up in the area for construction and silts that are gonna be disturbed?
I am not aware of anything being spec'd. We talked about a silt sock. That's the extent of what we had conversations around. But if there's
Okay,
something
so
that there's a preference to use, we
No,
can certainly make sure that
The silt sock should be sufficient, but you just need to make sure that you stake it off, like not every 2 feet with a stake, so because the water, things happen and stuff moves,
Yeah,
so if you stake it in, it really secures the effort of the silt sock.
Especially if you're gonna be doing it basically over the winter.
Okay.
All right, with that stipulation added to the motion, do I hear a motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
All
I'll
right,
second
motion is made. Motion is seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather.
Aye,
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French.
aye,
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. The motion passes. All right, so just do as we
Will do.
ask you and
We'll mail
Everything
that
should be-
permit out to you.
perfect.
Cobra
Thank you very
said.
much.
No problem. Have a good night.
have a good evening. Thank you. All right, number 7 is a request for a certificate of compliance for 46 Burley Road. The owner is BSC Realty Trust. So basically, as we've been seeing the last couple of meetings, Chris, we're catching up on paperwork that has never been done because there never was the ability to do it on this. Now that we have a full-time clerk, she is tracking down some of these properties and for certificates of compliance. And this is one of these situations. Do we have a
No one's on for that,
yeah,
but it's an old project
oh,
that
yeah.
just pulled up. Yep, the work has been completed.
The work hasn't been completed and I don't think we have an actual date of when it was done, but the work has been completed. So with that in mind, if anyone has any questions? No questions, I'll accept a motion that we issue the certificate of compliance for 46 Burley Road.
I'll make the motion and seek the support of my colleague Margaret.
I'll second,
Motion is made and seconded. Chris Mather.
Aye,
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French.
aye,
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Motion passes. Item number 8, minutes for November 13, 2023. Chris, you weren't here, so you're not gonna be able to make a motion, so I'll make the motion that we accept the minutes unless someone has other issues.
I'm good. I'll second.
All right, motion is made and seconded. All in favor, Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Item number 9, any other business properly to come before the Conservation Commission. I do have one thing I will speak to you other members about, and that is, as we know, budgeting time is coming quite quickly. And I would like to have any input from members of the commission on building the budget, in other words, without any other words, I guess. So if Victoria, if you could email to everyone the budget as it was presented at the town meeting, and then if you could, do you have the
Like how much we've used so
yeah,
far?
how much
I
you
keep
use and
track.
how,
Yeah.
okay, could you also
Yeah,
just put that on? And then you can look over the budget. If you see anything that you think should be added or changed or subtracted, we'll go over it at another meeting. Maybe,
you wanna go over at the next one?
why don't we go over it the next,
Yeah.
why don't we put it
So
on
I
the,
think we start thinking about this in January.
Yeah.
They usually send that out. I'm not sure when we have to submit it by, but.
They do.
Oh, yeah,
And
you
in
would know, right?
February,
Around
we
the same
start going over.
time.
yeah, February, and the month of February, I won't physically be here. Hopefully we'll be able to get in on Zoom, but I'll be in South Carolina in February for the month. So I would like to see us have this settled before then. All
Okay.
right,
I have a
other-
question.
okay, go ahead.
Victoria, where does your salary come from now?
Oh, yes, my salary comes entirely out of the planning budget.
Okay. Thank you. That was last year also, right?
Nope, this is the first, I think this is the
Oh.
first year.
Oh, okay, I thought it switched. Are we still, just to throw it out for everybody to think about, are we still talking about a conservation agent? Or is it now like Victoria but something for everybody to think about?
Good point. Probably that's one of the reasons that I would like to see the budget. Like, to be perfectly honest, I wasn't aware that all of the salary is budgeted in the planning board for Victoria's position, which is kind of interesting, and we'll see. I'm not gonna want to set to do something that we don't need to change, but that's an interesting item for me to know. And seeing about having an agent or how we work that in the budget, I think would be a good thing to talk about next time we meet.
Okay.
All right. Just another thing to make people aware, we have gotten a notice that the owner at 112, or the property owner or agent at 112 South Main Street has requested a hearing that's gonna be December 16th.
I believe it's the 14th.
14th, okay. And just to make you aware of that, Victoria and I and town council will be attending.
Margaret did respond and say she could attend.
Okay, all right. Very good, Margaret. You wanna come?
So hang on a second, Charlie, you
No
said that
problem.
he requested it? I thought this was a court thing. I thought the court requested the hearing.
No,
I think it is the court because we issued fines and they haven't paid them. Is
Right.
that?
right. So what happens is it's kind of some, I don't wanna But I don't wanna say, have you ever had a motor vehicle hearing? But what happens in such a thing, the person either pays the fine or requests a hearing. If they don't request a hearing and they don't pay the fine, then in this instance, it becomes a criminal matter. And there's a probable cause hearing, and that's what's going to be in December. So
Okay, that's what I thought.
we present our case for why the fines were issued, and then the clerk magistrate will decide if there's probable cause, and if there's probable cause, it will go forward. If not, it will be dropped.
Okay.
All right. Anything
Okay.
else? All right, with that being said, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll initiate the motion to adjourn.
I
motion-
will second.
Motion is made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. The meeting is adjourned. Take care,
Night, guys.
folks.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good couple of weeks.